Sergeant at Arms will secure the doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President.
Oh my goodness. All right, do we have any senators wishing to give us some words of wisdom before we jump in? If not, we can just, we'll let the Senator from District 6's prior invocation serve as the invocation for this session. Has everyone recorded their presence in the chamber? Looks like we're missing just a couple of folks here. All right, clerk will take the call. With 43 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is yet again in session. Hope everyone had a nice sleep, came back for the next day. We've got a message from the House. I think we've read 20 messages on this bill. 883. Clerk will read message number 2.
Senate Bill 883, Senator Gazzoni, tobacco tax, out-of-state sales of premium cigars and pipe tobacco. By the Majority Leader, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, the House of Delegates does not recede in the House amendments to the Senate bill and agrees to a conference committee to confer on the disagreeing votes of the two houses. The Senate has appointed Senator MCCRAY chairman, Senator Elbert, Senator Salling. The House appoints Delegate Lukey chair, Delegate D. Barnes, Delegate Buckle. Said bill is returned herewith by order Sylvia Seeger, Chief Clerk.
Message having been read is ordered journalized. All right, do we have everybody? We're close to. Let's go ahead and do some of these consent calendars. They are amended. Some of them are amended, and we'll get through. All right, we've got the first consent calendar is calendar number 51. The clerk will read the calendar.
Senate third reading calendar number 51, consent 19.
All right, senators, these bills are House bills on third reading for final passage. Please take a moment to review the bills. Are there any bills that senators wish to remove? If not, on the calendar, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the senator from District 27, is your button? Oh, there it goes. Okay. Clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, House bills on consent calendar 19 having received a constitutional majority are declared passed. We got another consent calendar, number 20. Clerk will read the calendar.
Senate third reading calendar number 54, consent number 20.
All right, these are local-ish bills out of JPR. They are on third reader for final passage. Any discussion or separations? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, House bills on consent calendar 20 having received a constitutional majority are declared passed. We've now got consent 21. Clerk will read the calendar.
Senate third reading calendar number 55, consent number 21.
All right, senators, take a look. These are on third reading for final passage. Again, departmental, local. Any separations? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. All right, we've got some concurrences. We've got, what is this? All right, concurrence, Senate bills amended in House calendar number 49. These look like out of EHE. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 673, Senator Gallion, Department of Agriculture, Urban Agricultural Grant Program.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. This grant program creates an urban agricultural grant fund to support the program. The amendments simply make a technical change which conforms the bill to the House bill which the Senate passed unanimously. We would move that the Senate concur with the amendment.
All right, the committee moves that we concur with the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 673 is now on third reader, again, for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 673, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 674, Senator Eldred, Environment Commission on Environmental Justice and Sustainable Communities Reform, EHE.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. A number of people spent time trying to reorganize, reinvigorate the Commission on Environmental Justice and Sustainable Communities. We've talked about it. This has been before the Senate before. The amendments alter the Commission's membership and add requirements regarding community listening sessions. Environmental Health and Environmental Affairs concurs.
All right, the committee moves that we adopt the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The Senate concurs with the House amendments. Senate Bill 674 is now again before us on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 674, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We've got a finance concurrence calendar. This is calendar 47 of Senate bills amended in the House. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 97, Senator Rosapep, Purple Line Marketing Act, Finance.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House amendments.
Yes. Senate Bill 97 requires the Maryland Transit Administration to develop and implement a Purple Line marketing plan. The House amendments change the date by which a report on marketing activities must be submitted to legislative committees to October 1, 2023, or 12 months preceding the opening of the Purple Line, whichever is later. The House amendments also strike a provision that sunsets the bill after 2 years. We move to concur.
All right, the Chair moves that we concur with the House amendments. Any discussion on the amendments? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 97 is again before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 30 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 97, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We've got a message. Let's see.
Mr. President,
Oh, yes, Senator.
I believe I missed the last vote. My button wasn't working. Can I be recorded in the green with Senate Bill 97? Thank you.
On 97, Senator moves to be recorded in the green. Any objection to the Senator's motion? Without objection, so ordered. All right, we've got a message for Senate Bill 414. Clerk will read the message.
Senate Bill 414, Senator PINSKY, Climate Solutions Now Act of 2021. By the Majority Leader, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, the House of Delegates does not receive in the House amendments to the Senate bill and agrees to a conference committee to confer on the disagreeing votes of the two houses. The Senate has appointed Senator Pinsky chairman, Senator Washington, Senator Riley. The House appoints Delegate Barvey chair, Delegate Stein, Delegate Brooks. Said bill is returned herewith by order Sylvia Seeger, Chief Clerk.
The question is now or later. The message having been read is ordered, journalized. All right, we've got third readers, calendar 56. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 16, Delegate Stewart, Correctional Services, Immigration Detention, Prohibition, Dignity, Not Detention Act.
House Bill 16 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? Chair recognizes Minority Whip on the bill.
Yes, thank you very, very much, Mr. President. And if you look at the bill, the main things that this bill does, bans on-street enforcement, which is already the law. It bans private ICE facilities, which we have none in Maryland. But what it would say is that you cannot detain, ICE cannot detain and hold people in the state of Maryland. And just so we're talking about who we know who we're talking about, when ICE issues a detainer, when somebody's picked up and are picked up for committing a crime, their fingerprints are run through multiple federal agencies. They're run through the ATF, they're run for the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, the FBI, all kinds of things, looking for warrants, all kinds of stuff. So they're picked up, they were booked, they committed a crime. So it could have been an assault, it could have been drunk driving, it could have been almost anything, but they've had to have been arrested and booked. It's run through through all these federal databases. ICE will then say, we want you to hold this person because they've come in the country illegally, but there's often more than that. Because there are, unfortunately, because of the state of our border, there's so many people that are coming in illegally, and ICE does not have enough facilities or manpower to hold it. Usually they only hold people that would be a serious misdemeanor, a felony, something like that, a gang affiliation, whatever. ICE will say, hold them, that's your detainer, and then they'll come pick them up. So this bill only deals with people that are already in federal custody. They've already picked them up. So what the bill in front of us says is that if they pick up a Marylander, we're not going to hold them anywhere in Maryland and jail them anywhere in Maryland. We're going to jail them out of state. I don't know. I do not believe that is a good policy decision. If you're talking about somebody not having access to their family, to their attorney, if you house them in Tennessee, I don't think that's better for people who are arrested and picked up in Maryland. I think that's a bad policy. And then it says secondary, we're also going to stop our public jails from being used in, there's only two of them, Frederick and Worcester, but you could have a private prison built. I always thought in Maryland that we were against private prisons. That's what I always heard overwhelmingly. But yet this bill leaves you two choices. Take them to another state, so take them to Tennessee or wherever, or build a private prison that is completely out of the purview of our laws in Maryland, our protections, our elected officials, and have a private prison facility built and operated and run in Maryland by the federal government. I don't know why option one or two. So the three options. The current one, you put them in a local detention facility in Maryland. That's gone now. Option two, house them out of state. I don't know why you'd want to do that if you're a Marylander. It's not better for any Marylander to be sent far away. And number three, be put in a private prison. I didn't think we were necessarily in favor of private prisons. I didn't think there was a lot of people that are big fans of theirs on the floor here, but maybe I'm wrong. So for those reasons, I'll be voting no. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the Senator from District 34 on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, what this bill says to the Biden-Harris administration is, we're not going to cooperate with you. Whatever your decisions regarding immigration on this piece of it, Maryland's going our own way. And it's been suggested that somehow by us going our own way, we're going to change national immigration policy. That's just absurd. What we will change is that instead of putting a facility in Maryland, they'll put it somewhere else. But they're not going to, whatever they're going to do, they're not going to not detain someone or change their policies because they can do it in Maryland or West Virginia. They're going to do it. And all we can do is say, we're not going to cooperate with you. Why we would want to say that? Why we want to be uncooperative with the federal government who's really struggling with a major problem of our time just eludes me. I don't get that. So this one country, one people united, I don't understand why we would want to provide pushback in the area where our country needs us to assist in supporting whatever the national policy is. So I'll be voting no on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, bill's on third reading for final passage. Any further discussion? Are we sure? Chair recognizes the Senator from Frederick City.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to speak in favor of the bill. I think there's some misunderstandings. First off, if someone commits a crime, this bill is not letting them go. If they committed a crime, we have a jail. You can put them in jail. And as a matter of fact, too often we hold them and then turn them over to ICE, and there are occasions where they deport them and they never have a trial. They're just sent out of the country. So one, they've never had a chance to clear themselves if they're innocent. And two, they don't have a criminal record if they committed a crime, and they just come back and they're clean again. So I think, again, sometimes we think it's just cheaper to turn them over than to charge them for the crime and if they're found guilty, put them and keep them in jail. This bill is not saying don't do that. It's not saying you can't go after gangs. It's simply saying just don't pick up somebody for really basically no reason and hold them other than the fact that they may have been here illegally. I know of a couple cases. We had a guy at home that owned a pizza shop and he was here illegally. They picked him up. They took him to the port and gave him a third-class ticket on the ship to go back to Italy. He tore up the ticket and bought a first-class ticket and then jumped ship and came back home. He wasn't going to jump ship on a third-class ticket, I guess. We also had a guy who had been in Frederick for years, had a good job, got married, had a couple kids, bought a house, was a really good person to have. He had actually started his own business. He was from Africa, as was his wife, and somehow they put her country down as to where he came from. And when he saw that, he reported it to say that wasn't correct. And they took him in for lying about where he came from. And I don't know what the final outcome was. But that's the kind of stuff we're trying to stop. Not criminals, not gangs. We're trying to stop them. But that's not what this bill is about. And as far as the economic development part, I think building economic development on locking up people is a poor business and not one that we need to be in. We're among the highest in the world for prisoners we have already. And now to start, whether you call it jail or detaining, locking up people that didn't do anything except come here illegally. And as it said, the cheapest thing to do is release them, and 95% of them show up when the time comes. So we haven't lost anything. So I think it's a good bill and we should support it.
All right, thank you, Senator. All right, without any further discussion, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? Chair recognizes the Senator from Montgomery County to explain his vote. Chair of the committee to explain his vote. Senator wants to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm proud to bring this piece of legislation out of the committee. This has been a long time coming. I think this is going to make our state a more equitable and just place for everyone. Personally, for the constituents in my district, I've had lots of testimonials of people that have contributed mightily to our country and to the fabric of our state and into our community. This is one small step, one measure forward to go forward in protecting all of our interests, and will ultimately make our communities a safer, more hospitable place. So I'm proud to cast a green vote for this.
Thank you, Senator. All right, any further senators wish to explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 30 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 16, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 480, Delegate Barvet, Vehicle Laws, Plug-in Electric Drive Vehicles, Reserved Parking Spaces.
All right, House Bill 480 is on third reader for final passage. Chair recognizes the senator from 36th District on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would the floor leader yield for a question, please?
Will the floor leader yield? Floor leader on plug-in electric reserved spaces. Senator from Baltimore County? Floor leader? Why don't we special order this? Let's special order this for 30 minutes. Any objections? Without objections, so ordered. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1186, Delegate Clippinger, Office of the Attorney General, Firearm Crime, Injuries, Fatalities, and Crime Firearm Study Extension.
All right, House Bill 1186 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, I'm sorry. Chair recognizes the senator from District 8.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just have a question for the floor leader.
Will the floor leader yield? Senator from Baltimore City, 41st District, I believe. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 27.
Sorry. Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. President.
Senator may proceed.
Is she back there? I can't see. I can't see back there, but I just would like to know what the original cost of the contract was and what became of the $500,000 contract with Westlaw. Is that, it seems like it got kind of mixed up in the whole thing, that it was one thing and then it was another thing. Can you explain that for me, please?
Senator, I am not aware of that. I'll get that information and get it back to you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman?
Was Chairman yield for a question? Senator, yes, Chairman may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you rephrase the question? Are you asking for how much it costs for the initial?
What was the original initial cost, and then it went to, and what happened to the $500,000 contract with Westlaw? I'm just concerned about that contract, and did it go to Hopkins, to another place? And this is a constituent asked me this, and I'm just trying to follow the dots along with that.
The fiscal note has $200,000. I don't know specifically what you're referencing to. Maybe I can do more research and find out the specific contract elements. But and with a contract with Westlaw, I'm also not sure.
Okay, and where did the contract end up? Was that at the Hopkins?
So I think that's right.
And
with Johns Hopkins University to do the study, the initial crack, yes.
Yes. Do we know how much that cost?
The fiscal note says $200,000 for this
Okay.
iteration of it, but the last time we don't have that information.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, on third reading for final passage, any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 31 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1186, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1187, Delegate Clippinger, Juvenile Law, Juvenile Justice Reform.
All right, House Bill 1187 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? Chair recognizes the senator from 34th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this bill relates to the issue of juvenile justice reform. I think it's high time that we took even a more detailed and serious look at this. I'm not very happy with what I'm seeing on this commission and what's coming out of them. We can't keep throwing young lives away. And as I look at reform, it just sort of looks like rearranging the chairs a little bit. We've got to get serious with this. We got kids who are screaming for assistance, screaming for help. Their lives are a mess. They come from broken families, broken schools, broken communities, and they're really in serious problem. And I think if you look at the rates of recidivism and the challenges we're having, it's time that we step up and invest in this community of people and really try to make their lives better. There's models out there. We never talk about wholesale rewrites. We don't talk about new programs, new initiatives. We talk about, we'll change this date, change that date, who's doing this, who's doing that. We sort of slide the chairs around a little bit, but we're not really getting serious. I think it's really, I guess I'll vote for this, but honestly, what I've seen coming out of the Reform Commission so far is just milquetoast. It's nothing serious that's really going to change people. We can't change kids by talking to them. We can't change kids by direct. We've got to have experiences. They've got to live good experiences. We need to break the mold that we're using now, look around the country, find the best models, and pursue those, and not let budgeting. Look, we're going to spend a fortune for them if they end up in the DOC. You spend a little bit now, or you spend a whole lot later. And it's time we start looking at putting some serious looking at what we're doing on juvenile justice, because it's not working at all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the senator from District 10 on the bill.
On the comments from the last speaker, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, if you think of the bill that you helped to pass earlier tonight on reforming the juvenile justice education system, that's a major step in the right direction to do exactly what you are saying we ought to be doing. The kids were not being educated. We were spending less per kid per year there for 12 months a year than we did in other schools for 9 months. The teachers were constantly turning over. We had no relationship with the community schools from which they came or to which we sent them back, so many of them never got in school. So we have made a giant step. I hope you will go home and tell your constituents that we have done something that as soon as it can be implemented will be a step in the right direction for these kids so they can be taxpayers and civic-minded. Thank you.
All right, on the bill, any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. Chair recognizes the minority whip. Takes 2 minutes.
Just briefly explain my vote. I'm glad we just passed this as amended, so it continues the commission, but I sure hope that next year they're able to come back with something that's a little bit more palatable. Some of the suggestions were really good, but some of the suggestions in there were just need a little bit more time to, I guess, be worked out. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes the chair of the committee. 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Thanks. Just really quickly, I also want to say thank you to the committee. Look, this is a tough issue. It's going to undergo a thorough examination next session, but there was some critical funding in the balance, and obviously the commission was going to lapse, so we thought we had to pass this forward. We did what we could with the time that we had. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Chair, in explaining his vote, just wants to sort of respond to Hartford County. One of the things that I think we're seeing with juvenile justice reform, and where it's most successful, is this cognitive behavior therapy. And it is the first real science-based approach to juvenile, where it's about brain development and kids recognizing having the ability to make different choices. And too many kids do not have have not been taught the model of how to make better choices. And I think there's some real hope here, and an extension of this reform council will hopefully get us in that direction. So with that, the clerk will take the call. Oh, yep, nope. Chair recognizes the majority leader. 2 minutes to explain your vote.
I wouldn't like to explain my vote, and I wasn't going to stand up and say anything, but there's something that's been kind of festering at me as far as the juvenile education system. You know, I've been watching on the news every morning about in Baltimore City and how the kids aren't doing as well in school as they should be, but we're doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting them to come out of it better, and what's happening isn't working. There are plenty of programs out there that nobody wants to fund because they're not your traditional education type systems, and I really hope that we're going to start looking at some other ways to teach our kids, because they don't all learn the same, and we can't lose one of them. So I hope that we can work on that.
Thank you, Senator. All right, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1187, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We got another third reading, 53. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 73, Delegate Krim, State and Local Government and Public Institutions of Higher Education, Teleworking.
All right, House Bill 73 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 73 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 582, Cecil County Delegation, Cecil County Sales and Use Tax Exemption, Federal Facilities Redevelopment Areas.
House Bill 582 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 582 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 607, Health and Government Operations, Judges Retirement System, Retiree Health Benefits, Mandatory Retirement.
House Bill 607 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. Chair recognizes the senator from District 3.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could I change my vote on
I was wondering about that one.
582 from red to green?
Red to green.
Pushed
Any
the wrong
objections
button.
any objections to the senator's motion? Without objection, so ordered. All right, clerk will read the next bill. That was a 582, correct, Senator? From red to green. All right, clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 983, Delegate Lehman, nursing homes, COVID-19, and other catastrophic health emergencies, visitation.
House Bill 983 is on third reader for final passage. Senator, is this an emergency bill? Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 983, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1017, Delegate Betzel, income tax credit for venison donation, reporting requirement, and testing for chronic wasting disease.
House Bill 1017 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1017, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1259, Cecil County Delegation, horse racing, Fairhill Natural Resources Management Area.
House Bill 1259 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1259, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, let's clear out some of these Senate bill concurrences here. We've got, that jumped out of order. We've got 39. We've got from Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs. Let's clear out these Senate bills. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 298, Senator Riley, State Board of Pharmacy, pharmacy closure, notice to customers, the Dennis Robin Act.
Senate Bill, Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Right.
Mr. President, they had some modest amendments reducing the notification. We think they're fine. It's an important bill. We want to move forward. We move to concur with the House amendment.
Committee recommends that we adopt the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 298 is again on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 298, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 326, Senator Hayes, Baltimore City Community College Procurement Authority, EHE.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House amendments.
Mr. President, this is a bill that makes small amendments to the Senate bill, giving more authority to BCCC to address procurement and not having to go through the state. We concur with the amendments.
All right, the committee recommends that we concur with the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 326 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 326, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 565, Senate Bill 523, Senator Lamb, State Board of Examiners for audiologists, hearing aid dispensers, and speech-language pathologists, duties, appointment of members, and requirements for licensees, EHE.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. The House again made some minor amendments to setting up this board and dealing with the duties and appointment of the members. We move to concur with the amendments.
All right, committee moves that we adopt the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. Sorry. I'm sorry, long day. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 523 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 523, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 565, Senator Griffith, Public Health Data, Race and Ethnicity Information, EHE.
Chair recognizes Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. The House made some minor amendments to this bill that deals with collecting this important information and data so we can change our policies and practice going forward. We concur.
Committee recommends that we concur with House amendments. Any discussion? I'm sorry. All in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 565 is again before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 565 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 664, Senator Ellis, Education, Student Financial Aid, Outreach Plan and Advisory Committee, EHE.
Chair recognizes Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill was put in to try to reach more students to fill out the FAFSA, to open up opportunities for them to go to community college or four-year college. Many students are left out. Some efforts are taking place, but very few, and it's very uneven across the jurisdictions in the state. The House made some small amendments to conform the bill, and we would move to concur.
All right, the committee moves that we concur with the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 664 is again before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 664, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 780, Senator Pinsky, States of Emergency, Emergency Procurement and Budget Amendments, Notice and Authorization, EHE, and Budget and Taxation.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Yeah, Mr. President, this bill was put in to add some transparency to require notification to the LPC upon emergency procurement, and then allowing LPC to request an audit. We had some language that also called for addressing the budget. The House removed that, and we're willing to concur with the House amendments. Move adoption.
All right, the committee moves that we adopt the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 780 is again before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 780 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 836, Senator Bidle, State Board of Dental Examiners, Disciplinary Process and Actions Task Force, EHE.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Mr. President, Senate Bill 836, as you can see, deals with the Board of Dental Examiners and having an efficient disciplinary process. It came from the Senator from Anne Arundel County. There were some small amendments. We think they were reasonable. We move to concur.
Chairman moves to concur with the House amendments. On the amendments, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 836 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 836, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we've got one more concurrence. Let's get through that. This is 48. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 401, Senator Carter, Landlord-Tenant Non-Renewal of Lease Notice Requirements, JPR.
All right, Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on the House Amendments.
Mr. President, could I do this at the end of the calendar or the next calendar?
Sure. Okay, let's special order this calendar until the end of the concurrence calendars. We've got calendar number These concurrences just keep popping up. I don't know where they're coming from. All right, we've got calendar 46. I must have missed that. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 67, Chair, Education, Health, and Environmental Affairs Committee, Emergency Medical Services, Paramedics, Vaccination Administration, EHE.
Chair recognizes the chair of the committee on the House amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 67 deals with paramedics having the ability to administer CDC-recommended and FDA-approved vaccinations. The House amendments allow current immunization to be administered to ambulance service personnel and require a certain agreement. Additionally, the amendments allow influenza and COVID-19 vaccinations if the vaccines are part of a population health outreach. We concur with the House amendments and move the Senate to do the same.
All right, the committee moves that we adopt the House amendments. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 67 is again before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 47 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 67, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We have another concurrence out of, are we ready, judicial proceedings, for the one we just had? Nope. Okay. We'll hold on the concurrences. We got plenty of time. All right, we've got, let's see, are there any unamended in here? All right, let's do these second readers. Whoop, hold on. Okay, we have a different concurrence. This is for judicial proceedings, number 51. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 17, Senator Carrozza, Criminal Law, Life-Threatening Injury Involving a Motor Vehicle or Vessel, Criminal Negligence, Wage Law, JPR.
All right, Chair recognizes the chair on the House amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. As passed by the Senate, the bill establishes the offense of life-threatening injury by motor vehicle or vessel, criminal negligence. A person is prohibited from causing a life-threatening injury to another as a result of driving, operating, or controlling a motor vehicle or vessel in a criminally negligent manner. A violator is guilty of a misdemeanor and on conviction is subject to a maximum penalties of 18 months and or a fine of $5,000. The House amendments essentially reduce the penalty to a maximum of 1 year. There are no committee amendments. I'd move to concur.
All right, the committee moves that we concur with the House amendments. Any discussion on the amendments? If not, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The House amendments are adopted. Are there, let's see, Senate Bill 17 is again before us on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded the vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 17, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, let's see if, I just want to see if there are any bills that need a couple more steps here. Nope. But, all right, let's make some decisions about some of these special orders. All right, let's figure out what we're doing here. Special Order 55. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 1016, Delegate M. Fisher, Calvert County Alcoholic Beverages Licenses, Annual Fees. Question is on the adoption of the favorable report.
All right. House Bill 1016 is on second reader. Questions on the report? Any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1016 is ordered passed to third reading. Let's see, we've got Special Order Calendar 53. 53, clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 891, Delegate D. M. Davis, Higher Education, Hunger-Free Campus Grant Program established. Bill is on third reading for final passage.
All right, House Bill 891 is on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 891, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, we have a third reading. Get these animals done. 58, calendar 58. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 234, Delegate Williams, criminal law, harm to service animals.
All right, House Bill 234 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 234, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Let's see if we can get any of these on consent calendars. Second readers. He does? Okay, this one does have amendments. All right, let's see how far we can get through these. We'll try and pause probably around 8:30ish. But let's see where we can get. All right, on 68, these are second readers. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 171, Delegate Washington, State Department of Education, School Discipline, Data Collection, favorable with 2 amendments.
All right, Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a really interesting bill about making sure that we figure out who is suspending students. But with the Kerwin Commission, the blueprint going into effect, we want to make sure that we are giving it time for the new training and stuff to go into effect. So we are going to make sure that the data is delivered and posted by state, by county, but not by school until 5 years from now. Move the 2 amendments. One is technical and one just establishes a 5-year delay for the reporting of the school level data on MSDE's website. Move the adoption of the favorable bill with favorable report with 2 amendments.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of 2 committee amendments and favorable committee report. Chair recognizes Senator from District 34 on the amendments.
Thank you. Floor leader, you'll for question?
The floor leader, you have for question. Senator may proceed.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand better what this bill and the amendments do. So it's school discipline data that is being collected at each individual school, up to the county, and then to the center, to the state. Is that right?
That's correct.
And what's the purpose? What are we trying to establish with this?
So we want to figure out where the problems are, either with bias, discipline, or just where there are challenges. With the increased training that's going to be available to our instructors with the blueprint, we wanted to give it some time to go into effect. The committee was a little worried about putting in school level granular data for 2 reasons. One is that it could be hush hush, let's just not suspend Johnny because we'll look bad. And 2, because there could be a slippery slope or a spiraling downward of, ooh, we don't want to send our kids to that school because look at their data. So by giving them 5 years to get the training and get the data and work to continue to improve our schools, we thought that was the time to make sure that the data is public.
So then after 5 years, this data is released by school?
Correct.
And it goes public then?
Correct. And many jurisdictions are doing it now. I was informed that Montgomery County is doing it now.
So I mean, is the intent here to say, oh, you're a bad county because you discipline students? And you have order and control in your classrooms and people learn, but you're evil because you discipline students?
So it's not about evil,
what's the
Senator.
goal?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to understand what we're trying to do with this study.
So I think it helps us be informed and monitor discipline in all of our schools. The county data will be aggregated, disaggregated, will be posted right away with this bill. The big piece is holding off for a few years just to post at the school level.
So then that'll come back up to the center. And then when it comes back up, who gets to make use of that data at the highest level?
Well, if it's on a website, anyone can make use of it.
Okay. So now the people at the top of the education pyramid can like direct the schools to say, well, you're too strong, you discipline too much, and that kind of stuff, right?
So we have 24 superintendents. They have the data. Everybody would have access to that. It's just a question of what should be posted on the website. And by delaying it a few years, we're giving the opportunity for the Kerwin blueprint to go into effect and for our schools to start to really thrive.
You know, gosh, it's so confusing because you feel like you're talking in circles. I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to, so we accumulate this data, and then when we bring it up at the state level, got it, it goes to a superintendent, no problem with that. Superintendents can look within their jurisdiction and just kind of make sure things are going right as they should. Comes up to state level, and the state's going to then say, oh, look, your jurisdiction disciplines people more than that jurisdiction. So then they'll be able to say, quit disciplining students? Is that what we're going to use that for?
No, Senator, that's not the way it's going to be.
So why are we collecting this at a statewide level instead of just leaving it at the local jurisdictions?
It will be shared with the local jurisdictions as well as the Maryland State Department of Education.
And at the highest level, but it's going to go public. It's not just the Maryland State Department of Education. All the advocates will be able to come in and implore this body to punish certain jurisdictions, and we'll be able to do that through the Kerwin funding to say you don't get your money because you discipline students too much and you have orderly classrooms. You need to loosen up, right?
I don't expect that that's the way it's going to happen. I think you're seeing bogeymen that aren't going to exist. It's about data and learning from the data and making sure that our kids are going to thrive in our schools.
Yeah, okay, I'm very pessimistic on this one. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, no worries. Thank you, Senator. All right, on the amendments, Chair recognizes the Minority Leader on the amendments.
Thank you. If the floor leader would yield.
Floor Leader yield. Senator may proceed.
Thank you. The committees, I know we've got a ton of data and we were moving very quickly. I thought our discussion centered around that we didn't want individual schools identified, because I remember talking about, you know, we have green schools and blue ribbon schools, and this, if we put it out per school, would basically shame the school. And you're saying we have a provision in there that after 5 years you'll start putting that on the website?
Yes, that's exactly what I said. Thank you.
Okay. I thought we were trying to get it at the county level to get it away from the shaming of an individual school, because the discussion we had in committee was that, you know, it'll put a lot of pressure on that individual school then to stop disciplining because they don't want to be on this list. Why did we want to do it after 5 years? I thought we wanted to do it at the county level and leave it at that.
The county level is untouched. It will go to the state level. It will go to the county. The local superintendents as well as our state superintendent will have access to the data, but we don't want to upload the granular by school for 5 years until we have the opportunity for exactly what you said was what we discussed, was because we don't want to shame schools. We want them to have the opportunity to improve, to do better discipline, and have better trained personnel.
Senators, if wouldn't mind, Chair's indulgence very briefly, while I keep trying to catch Mr. Harold, Xavier Harold, who is here, if he could just come on up. Senators, you may not have met Xavier. He is the one that has been out here cleaning every single time we meet in committee rooms or in the floor, and just want to give a huge round of applause and thank you to Xavier for all of his hard work. Thank you, sir. Thank you. He has been so dedicated. He's quiet, but he is a workhorse. He's been just keeping everything, making sure our COVID protections are in place. So thank you, Senators. Senator may proceed.
Thank you. And just if you could clarify, once the data is 5 years, is it 5 years ago that's posted? So it's 5 years old data, or starting in the 5th year, the data will be real time, basically?
The latter.
Why would we want to put that out for the public to see? I mean, obviously it's going to put a huge pressure on that school to get off of that list, whether they're having discipline problems or not. No school will want to be on this list to say, you've got too many discipline problems. So they're going to do everything they possibly could, and that's what, and maybe I missed it in committee, but I thought that was the reason we wanted to take it up to the county level so that pressure would not be on the individual school. What happens magically in 5 years that we want to display that data for individual schools?
So again, the data is available in many counties already, but we want to make sure that we've got the opportunity to fully implement the blueprint so that we can get more data and then have the accountability. In the meantime, the state superintendent and the local superintendents all have access to it and can work with their local principals and others. And that's why this bill passed the EHE unanimously.
Right. It was not under this assumption. So I don't mind per se the school systems having it and dealing with it, but this is publicly available for on a website for everyone. I think it's, thank you. I think this is not what I thought I voted on in there. I think this is bad policy. We discussed this in committee, that we are basically going to shame individual schools by posting publicly on the website that you made this bad list. I think it's a good for data if you can get it at the county level and then the school system can deal with it. But to publicly say North High School or whatever is now on the bad list and everybody in the county can see you've got the bad school in your district. And I doubt they're going to go and try to necessarily fix the problem the way it should be fixed. Their priority is going to be get my name off of that list, whatever it takes. And whether it's verbal or whatever, it's going to flow down. Stop disciplining. Stop writing these things up. I think it's a good policy at the county level. I think it's a terrible idea to put our elementary schools, our middle schools, our high schools publicly on a shame list. So I can no longer support this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right, Chair recognizes the Senator from District 5 on the amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I will ask if the floor leader would yield for questions here.
Sure.
Senator may proceed.
Thank you. I think the body is detecting the concerns of some of my colleagues here. And I was looking through the fiscal note, and I recall that in 2017, we passed basically the law that says you cannot suspend even, much less expel, pre-kindergartners, which I think kindergartners, which makes sense, first and second grade. We also, it seems like we're moving to a place from a policy standpoint where we're getting at, if there's too much of disciplinary action, it's obviously wrong. Like the default, it seems to me, and this bill maybe speaks to it somewhat, the default is that if you discipline students, you're kind of wrong, like you failed. Sort of like there's no bad students, only bad teachers, which is a terrible slogan that comes from movies. It's actually not completely true. I'm worried about that, and so I think the worry that I hear from my colleagues is reflected in that. I know that's not a question, so let me get to a question. Are we going to be able to tell with this data if a school system starts to get great results on the academic side and has high discipline rates? Is that going to be reflected in the data? Like, are they going to be conflated? Are we going to have access to whether the school that's high on the discipline list? I know we're pushing it out school by school, but we are doing it by county. Are we going to be able to see, like, what the results are? Does that make sense?
So first off, this bill, as it passed the House nearly unanimously, was going to go in effect right away. And the minority leader used some of the language that I used in committee to propose pushing this implementation out by school for 5 years so that there wouldn't be that kind of shaming, so there wouldn't be that sort of problem, and so that school systems can really work aspirationally to continue to improve academic and behavioral while they are moving forward and with additional resources.
Okay, it sounds to me like maybe my questioning and my concern is more with the overall bent of the bill as it stands. I mean, as it came in, still concerned with it. I appreciate the answers of the floor leader. Yeah, Mr. President, it may seem weird for people to get up and be concerned about data collection. What could be wrong with more data? But I think we all know how data can be collected. If I went into, I know that some of my colleagues have been concerned about how particular jurisdictions and their educational issues have been portrayed by the media. They feel it sensationalizes and cherry picks. I have a concern that we could be, this and other types of legislation, other types of initiative like this, could be cherry picking and saying, well, our data that we found, you can't argue with the data, and it says that you're punishing too many students, and it might be disproportionate, or it might be, there could be all sorts of things inferred and drawn from the data. Now, sounds to me like my problem is not with necessarily the committee amendments, and I know we're speaking on the amendments right now, so maybe I can wait and speak on the bill a little bit later, but I'm trying to summarize the concerns that I think I've heard here so people understand, not questioning, obviously gathering data is not necessarily a bad thing. I do wonder about it being made available publicly to the entire state. With that, I'll conclude my comments. I have that concern. I think I'm okay with the amendment, though. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes Senator from District 36.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would the floor leader continue to yield, please?
Will the floor to yield?
Sure.
Senator may proceed.
Yeah, just if you could explain again, the 5-year extension, was that for the collecting of the data or the reporting of the data?
The reporting of the data, as I answered to the senator from District 31, we will basically start the time clock in 5 years. So we're not reporting for the next 5 years while they're continuing to work to improve.
So, I'm sorry. So are they're still going to start collecting the data?
I would assume so. It just won't be on a website anywhere.
And
unless
so for
it's
5
already on a
years,
county's website that does it already. But it won't be mandated that MSD does that.
But for 5 years, they'll collect the data but not report it?
I presume so. It will be available because the counties collect it.
And so in that first 5 years, what happens with it?
I am not the state superintendent of education, or a principal or a superintendent in a local county, but I would assume they would be paying attention to high suspending schools and working with the principals, the community, and trying to figure out what's going on and how they can make it better.
Okay, well, I mean, I can appreciate all that, but I was specifically on the bill, you know, I thought that if we postpone this, something must be being done with the data during that time frame to see if it's being analyzed or not. But you're kind of saying that on an individual school-by-school basis, it might be evaluated, but not necessarily on a broader basis?
This is about posting on a website.
Right.
There will be nothing posted on about school-based data for 5 years. That's not to say no one's going to be reading it or paying attention to it, but the state will not be collecting that. Colleagues, we collect data on students. We collect it by race, ethnicity, economic status. We talk about students who don't have English as their primary language. This is another important data point, and it's about schools who have high discipline challenges and whether they are suspending at an inappropriate or appropriate level and what can be done about it. Rather than starting that right away, the committee decided that it would be wiser to wait and let the schools work to improve and come back at it in 5 years. I can also suggest that if it turns out that that is not the right period of time, that we have 5 years to figure that out.
Does the senator have a motion by any chance?
Yeah, Mr. President, I was just going to say I appreciate the comments, but I'm still a little confused on that. Could I special order this? Would that be appropriate, please?
Until the appropriate time next session, is that the
next session would be fine? Thank you.
Next gathering. Floor leader, mind if we special order this to the next gathering?
Thank you.
Without objection, so ordered. Senators, we have a conference committee report that we have to take up of the highest order. It's a Senate bill. This is Senate Bill 65, if we could read the bill.
Senate Bill 65, Senator Kelly, Electricity Renewable Energy Portfolio Standard Qualifying Biomass.
Chair recognizes the chair of the vice chair of the committee on the conference committee report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 65 specifies that qualifying biomass under the Renewable Energy Portfolio Standard does not include black liquor or any product derived from black liquor, and therefore excludes black liquor from eligibility for inclusion in the RPS standard as a Tier 1 resource. The conference committee amendments adopt the House amendments, which incorporate and adjust the Tier 1 total and solar percentage schedules in the corresponding alternative compliance payment schedule, and indefinitely extends the Tier 2 of the RPS and adopts an additional technical amendment correcting the effective date, Mr. President. We'd move to adopt the Conference Committee report.
All right, Floor Leader moves to the adoption of the Conference Committee report. On the report, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The Conference Committee report is adopted. Senate Bill 65 is again before us on third reader for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 33 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 65, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, Senators, we're going to pause there. We're going to adjourn today. But before we do, I do want to make a couple thank yous for those, because I think we still have some folks who are still in the building. First and foremost, I want to thank our incredible team at the Department of General Services, who have been helping out in the James Miller building here in the State House. They're not with us at the moment, but they are around on campus at all times. We have Thomas Walters, Andra Shaw, we have James, Luis Luna, Joe, and Tanya, whose last name I do not have. If we could just give a huge thanks to the Department of General Services housekeeping crew. They are phenomenal. Also, another huge thanks to our incredible folks in DLS who you can thank for the incredible Senaquarium, Senapods, phone booths, whatever we wanted to call them. DJ LaSalle, Debbie Freely, Mike Forrester, and Jim Goff. I cannot begin to tell you how much work these folks did. I mean, it is unbelievable the amount of work. And I got a text message picture from our good chief of staff here of DJ in his driveway in October, who had put together one of these mock things to try and figure it out. And it's kind of remarkable to think that experience in his driveway led to the creation of this whole place. So just a huge hand to the incredible folks in the facilities division who have just been incredible. So thank you all. And then, of course, the unbelievable folks at the Office of Information Systems in DLS who have dealt with Zoom, with all our help assistance, our computer problems, our streaming, our virtual sessions, you name it. They have had challenges like none other. That's Mike Gaudiello and his staff, Heather Kohler, Karen Cassidy, and Jeremy with American Amplifier to make the sound work. Thank you all so much. I know that the amazing folks at the print shop are still there pumping things out, and want to give a huge thanks to Barbara Branford and her entire team who have just been pushing through despite all of the circumstances. Thank you, print shop. To our recyclers, John, our recycler who comes around and picks up all of our recycling. I know that Senator from Rockville and Gaithersburg is hugely supportive of John's work every single day. Thank you, John. We have from the finance team, Jim Goff and Mary Rotten, who have just been unbelievable, helping us to make sure that we can afford everything, that we can make it in Maryland and pay for it in Maryland. Thank you very much to the DLS finance team. Thank you. We also have our human resources team, who, so much of this is behind the scenes, and I wish I could explain the depth at which how much work has gone into all of this. But Bridget Wickline and her entire staff have been the contact tracers, have been monitoring the COVID work with Casey from our team, and there has been so much work happening behind the scenes. I cannot thank them enough. Thank you, Bridget, and your entire team. Our wonderful amendment office and bill drafting offices, especially the amendment all of them are fantastic, but the amendment office, thank you. That's Effie, Kelly, Chrissy, and Michelle. Thank you. We could not work without this. I'm going to pause there. There are more to come, but I just wanted to catch those folks. And yes, Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Mr. President, when we started talking about coming back to Annapolis back in the fall, I think I probably was one of the least excited about coming back here and very apprehensive about how safe it was going to be. and worried about catching the COVID virus and all that kind of thing. And from the first day, once I finally gave it up and came, from that very first day, I have felt completely comfortable. I think every precaution was taken, from the testing to the plexiglass to everything that we've done. And I can just tribute you for that. You have just been a fantastic leader for all of us this year. And we couldn't have done it without you. So kudos to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. And truly, it is the incredible folks that we have. I mean, they are incredible. They truly, truly are. I mean, you talk about dedicated. These folks care desperately about this place working, and it's an honor to be able to work with them. All right, look, we're going to pause there. Let's say it's 8:30, 9:30-ish, 9:30. We'll see where we are at 9:30. All right, let's see. Are there any committee announcements? Finance, any announcements? Nope. All right. How about EHE?
9 o'clock for concurrences and voting.
9 o'clock for EHE, plugging away. Nothing for B&T. JPR? Of course. What time?
Let's do 9:15 for concurrences.
9:15. We're really going to start close to 9:30. Just saying.
9 o'clock, okay.
Okay, 9 o'clock. Sorry, JPR. All right, any other announcements before we adjourn? If not, let's take a quorum call before adjournment.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 47 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, Senate Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the majority leader.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until the next legislative day at 9:30.
Without objection, so ordered. Stay safe, wear your mask, get the vaccine.